this is hard industry. It is 24/7, always on. I know we say, there's balance, I'm going to turn my phone off, but we're not turning our phones off. And so the care of the people that are delivering the experience is the most important thing. 14 Burberry coats and Gucci purses later, that got... So we spent some time
covered in paint.
Yep.
Give us a couple of little moments that people could maybe take to their teams and really start to drive some change. All right, Carrie Campbell, I've been looking forward to the time that we could sit together and be on a podcast together. I think you and I first had a conversation about podcasting probably 10 years ago because I've been wanting to do this for so long. And you and I have known each other for much longer than that.
Yes.
And really you've been a mentor to me in my career and a partner and a friend. And I feel very lucky to have worked side by side with you. And your role has been a constant for me. I think my role has been fairly constant for you.
Absolutely.
In a way that we've kind of grown together. And so I'm excited for our conversation today. So tell our viewers a little bit about who you are and your background and what you're doing today.
Thank you. I'm so excited. We do go way back. So I'm Carrie Campbell. I am 16 years in at Fenway Park Events, which is now Evergreen. We'll talk about that. Fell into hospitality, graduated from college, kind of floundered a little bit, and got my first real hospitality job in Boston at the Hampshire House. I feel like if you didn't start at the Hampshire House or the Sheraton, if you're in like a venue, and then worked for Fairmont, worked my way up to director of catering there. I think that job sort of defined who I am as a leader. I learned a lot about leading and taking care of people in that job, and they were very intentional. Fairmont is very intentional about that training. And then did 2 years in meeting planning, special events planning for a hospital. Hated it. I love being on the resource side, the supplier, if you want to call that.
I like resource. Side. That's a better word choice. Good choice there. Yeah.
Versus making decisions about who's going to speak and how things are going to look. And then Boston Harbor Hotel for 7 years. That was my first 5-star experience and culture shifting. That was a lot of my leadership career there, was helping shift culture, and obviously selling. And then, if you had told me in those days that I was going to be working for a sports team, I would have laughed in your face because I was very happy at my 5-star, 5-diamond luxury hotel on the ocean. And I found myself in a conference room at Fenway in 2010, staring at the field and thinking, wow, this is really special. I can do what I love doing, deliver hospitality, lead a team, but I can build it because they were adding this position and they were looking to enhance the sales effort for non-baseball. And so the ability to come in and be the expert and build a team and lean on all of those skills that I have learned and then recruit the right people. And we have amazing people on the team. We are doing hospitality in a fan culture, right? In a fan venue. It's 16 years in and it's never the same day twice.
And when I first started working with Fenway, it was a salesperson of one, and it was really a reactive person. Still there, still very loyal and still wonderful to work with. But it totally shifted when you got that role, and the approach to events at a ballpark, was much more than just maybe we could. It was no, we do. Yeah. Right. And we are actively, constantly. I mean, back in those days, there were no concerts at Fenway Park. There were no football games at Fenway Park or Top Golf or Spartan races or all the wonderful things that you've built. So as you've gone through that, shift, you've gone through a rebrand, just similar to us, and tell us about what, 16 years of building all those things is quite an accomplishment. So what now? What is the new brand of Evergreen and how is that different than what you've done?
Yeah. Great question. Thank you. What I will say about the experiences that we have been creating over the past couple of years with the talent that we've recruited is we're continuing to prove to the organization and to the city that we can do these things. Right. We can do things that are way out of the box, and we can try it. And it's really nice to have a leadership team that is like, let's take risk. Let's just try let's experiment. So the impetus behind Evergreen is, and Haley McNerney and me, we're sort of like leading the charge on the day to day of what was Fenway Park Events for at least a decade now. It's been like, is that really who we are? It's so generic. Fenway Park Events could be a tour. It could be a group sale, like coming in with 50 people and watching a game. It could be going to a concert. It could be renting a suite. It could be something the Red Sox Foundation does. And so
maybe even a mascot going off property somewhere, right?
Right.
Anything.
Just like anything. And it was so, we didn't feel that people were connecting to who we are and what we do. And we weren't storytelling. And so we partnered with an agency to help us, but they specialize in branding. And we went through, we started this process in February and we launched in November. It was a very thoughtful process. A lot of stakeholders were involved. Who are you trying to be? What's the future of this? And we're very much in a growth mindset.
Okay.
It's more than a ballpark, right? Like when I first started 16 years ago, we were booking, suites for 20 people and parties for 100 people. And we still do those things, but to be strategic and to like move the needle, you've got to go find those ballpark buyouts. You've got to partner with DMCs to do something that totally transforms.
Right.
And tells a story to the world
mm-hmm.
that you could do something really cool here.
Right.
It's not, and that there's not a time and a place for, convention center floor, but for an event, for a venue that is so emotionally tied to the community, especially regionally, but in general,
oldest ballpark in America.
Yeah.
People don't come to Boston
story.
without wanting to experience Fenway, even if they're not a baseball fan. And that's the message, right?
Right. That is the message. And, we are like, if we're home, if we're away, we want to be a part of the fabric of what you're doing, what your experience is in Boston. So Evergreen launched in November, and Coherent too.
Yes. The same week, back-to-back nights.
And what I'm so pleasantly surprised about is how curious people are.
Yeah.
They're really leaning into it. At first I was like, they're never going to adopt this name, like the community. Right. And as we go to events and come to conferences like this, people are like, tell me more about Evergreen. Like, I'm so intrigued. And it's not a new company. It's just a rebrand of a department, but we're looking to grow the department. And the other thing I want to make sure that we say is the aspiration is to get out of the walls of Fenway. And so if we're going to be doing events on the sidewalks, on the streets, or if we're going
like the block party we did, right?
Doesn't make sense for Fenway Park Events to put on a street festival.
Right. But Evergreen.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So
great.
Yeah. We're very excited about it. I feel like it makes so much more sense. It's legacy building, kind of like the theme here, right? Like momentum, legacy, unity, belonging,
right?
All those things.
And, you as a leader who, have an ownership group that has very, high expectations of not just revenue, but of impact.
Yes.
And your task, they task you to say, okay, we built you new venues within the park. We've done all these things to allow you to continue to grow your team and your impact. But what's next?
Yeah.
Right. And so you were tasked with that and you had to produce something.
Right. And the other thing to think about is there's 365 days a year, right? Let's take out Christmas. Let's take out Thanksgiving. There's 81 baseball games. That's 279 other days of the year. We generally do 12 concerts and then we've got to plug in the rest of it. But there's a lot of demand, luckily. And there's a lot of us going out in the community. And so we've maxed out.
Wow.
So we have to, if we're going to keep the growth mindset and grow the revenue and grow the experience, we have to get outside the walls.
We're proud to partner with Evergreen, formerly known as Fenway Park Events, this season. Evergreen is reimagining what events can be, blending history, hospitality, and bold creativity to create experiences that leave a lasting mark on people and communities alike. Learn more at evergreenfenway.com.
In addition to Evergreen, I really want to talk today a little bit about culture. And I want to talk today about your leadership journey and what messaging you have shared with me over the years, because really, I think one of the things we've bonded over so much is building teams and understanding the roles in leadership and how dynamic they all are, and in the hospitality industry specifically, and little tidbits and lessons, because some of us, are in roles where we don't have that other sounding board person to go to and, try ideas with. And, we've had each other, which has been so valuable for me in my career, but I think we've also had other communities of people. So I've watched you grow, in a voice of culture, not only in our industry and our community, but really in a lot of industries and communities as you continue to go down that path. So talk to me about your journey, both as a professional and how you wanted to share your messaging, but really what got you to the place where culture was your message?
It's a really, really good question. I mentioned earlier my time at Fairmont. I had never heard the words that they were using before. And I had never been so intentionally sort of onboarded and trained around building the right environment for your people to thrive.
Right.
They didn't use those words, but that's what they were teaching us to do. And putting some skill sets in our hands, like service recovery. Here's how you handle service recovery and, be yourself in the service recovery, those things. And so I took that and built on it in all of my jobs. And what I found when I left Fairmont is it didn't exist at my next hotel job. And I was tapped by the GM to help fix it. And the message is, and it's not rocket science, and a lot of different people talk about it, but the way that I spin it, especially because of the love of the industry that I have, is, we just heard Aaron on stage talk about burnout and hustle culture. And this is hard industry. Yeah. It is 24/7. Always on. I know we say, there's balance. I'm going to turn my phone off, but we're not turning our phones off. Yeah. And so the care of the people that are delivering the experience is the most important thing. The P&L is really important, right? We all need to make money. We all need to have a thriving business. The stakeholders are important. The owners, the clients, the guests are all important, but none of that happens without the people.
Right. And
so pouring into your people in a thoughtful way, which takes time, and sometimes money, right? Training, development, is going to set you up for success where people want to be there. And I'm talking about all the people working and the people engaging with you, staying with you, buying your product, whatever it is. If you leave that off to the side, or if you let that fall asleep, you start to see quiet quitting. You start to see people mailing it in. You start to see people stop going above and beyond. You start to see no discretionary effort. Like, I'm going to punch the clock. I'm going to come here. I'm going to do my job and leave me alone, right? But if you are really taking care of someone, the business is going to flourish.
They're going to take care of the next person, right? Whether it's the guest or the attendee or the client or their colleagues, right?
Yeah. So for me, in all of my jobs since that job at Fairmont, I've made it part of the day-to-day conversation with my team. Yeah. I'm hiring through that lens when we're hiring. And now my team is hiring through that lens. Some of the terminology and the thoughtfulness that we do is we're all in it. Everyone on our team is into it. We have a culture of coaching where we can coach peer-to-peer, we can coach above, we can coach for someone who might not be, I hate the word level, but at a different point in their career journey.
Yes. Yeah.
So I think it's just trying to keep it top of mind. And I do speak about it because I am so passionate about it. And when I do get on a stage and talk about it, so many people come up to me after and say, these are things we know, but why don't we do it? What happens? Why does it fall off the
right?
Because it's not typically in most cultures, it's not a strategy. It's not measured. You have a sales strategy. Right. You have a legal strategy. You have a crisis strategy. You have an operational strategy.
Right. What's your KPI here? Right.
And are we talking about it? Are we measuring it? Are we playing with it? And I should say, recognition is one of my major topics.
Yeah.
And my definition of recognition is the genuine intentional effort to communicate to somebody that what you do and how you do it matters.
Right.
And I see you doing it. And it's not always roses and, glitter.
Sure.
Sometimes it's what you do and how you do it matters. And I see
you. It's not a good way.
You just lost your mind in front of a guest.
Yes.
But having that intentional in the moment conversation with someone hey, that wasn't you today. what just happened and how it happened, it really matters.
Right.
Look what we're dealing with now.
Right.
Or it's like, oh my God, you just went to the airport and got that bride's dress and she left it on the plane. You didn't have to do that. Yeah. You know, like what you do and how you do it matters. And we see you and we're going to celebrate that.
Yes.
And so I think the reason it falls away is like the place is not going to burn down. The place is going to burn down if you don't make your revenue number. I mean, you're going to hear about that. It's going to be like coaching plans and all those things. Like it's sort of like it's not urgent,
right,
but it's really important.
But it is urgent in its own way.
Right.
So what would be like a couple of small takeaways? Like I feel the way you build culture because you'll send me a text after I see you saying something that, you know, even though you saw 30 or 40 people in the room that day, I'll get a personal moment from you that reminds me that I mattered to you in that moment. I'm not on your team. I'm just your friend. Yeah. Right. And that matters, right? Give us a couple of like little moments that people could maybe take to their teams and really start to drive some change.
Well, there's a couple things. One thing is for me, when I'm in a moment of sharing gratitude or sharing feedback like that, it gives me just as much joy as it gives the person receiving it, sometimes more.
Interesting.
Because, you know, I'm seeing something in someone that they don't see in themselves. And you're like, no, it's true. You're like, what you just did today was so great. Thank you so much. Like you invited me to something that you did at the Sheraton. We made those little shadow boxes.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was so thoughtful. Like that was such a cool event. Like, but telling someone that and then having them be like, you know, that was a pretty cool event. Like, thanks for recognizing that.
Yeah.
I would say some tips or some habits.
Right. Because you can't just do it once. It has to be a habit.
Yeah. So I try to think of the habits I already do. Like pretty much everyone brushes their teeth every day, right? I think most people make their bed every day or at least a couple times a week. People have a morning routine. So pairing a moment of reflection and reaching out to somebody. And it doesn't always have to be like, you rocked that. It could be like, are you okay?
Thinking of you.
Like in that meeting yesterday, it seemed like something was really bothering you. Yeah. You're on my mind. So like habit building for sure.
Okay.
And also remembering that you're probably going to make someone's day when you reach out to them. Because don't we all just want to feel seen? So, I mean, this is shit we learned in kindergarten.
Right.
Right. Like,
and it used to be like, write a personal thank you note, right? Like that made the world of a difference. I can't remember the last time I got a personal thank you note. And then holidays came around and one of my clients, all of them signed a personal thank you note. And I said, you know what? I'm going to spend extra care on that client this year. I'm going to think of them differently. And it made an impact on me. Right. So that was one of the ones that was always instilled in me early was like a personal note really does make the difference. And thank you in an email doesn't feel the same feeling that when the mail shows up and there's a stamp on it, right?
Yeah. That's one of my 2026 intentions is more handwritten notes. So I have a stack of notes and stamps.
You got to start there.
You got to get the stamps. Yeah. Otherwise the notes just stay in your back.
Yes.
Because the intentionality of a handwritten note, that is something you're going to see. You know, the sticky people that have their stickies in their cubes?
I know some of them.
Right? And like, if you get a handwritten note, there is data on this. The average person keeps a handwritten note for a month.
A month?
It's hard to throw it away. Like you don't want to
think about you for that whole month long.
Yes.
Right?
And also like they may go back to it and reread it.
Mm-hmm.
You know who's really good at thank you notes? Paul Griffin from Me Boston.
Oh, okay.
He's scribing notes all the time.
Okay. We'll have to grab him because he's up the way here. So perfect.
Another thing I just want to share is instilling it in the people around you. So it's not just you all the time. It's something that is infused into the culture that's talked about and give people the tools to do their job. Last year at PCMA, I met someone who said they put up a thank you station near the water cooler and the coffee. So it's this little kiosk and there's notes, there's sticky notes, there's like, and you can just, while you're waiting for your coffee at the Keurig, right? You just scribe a little note and then you just drop it off. I think it's hard though too for people who have a hybrid culture or a work from home culture because you're not in the office together. So it's a little, you got to get really intentional. And that's where the texting and the handwritten notes come in.
Right. No, I totally agree. And I do think that from a perspective of somebody who's received a handwritten note from Paul Griffin, for example, you remember it. And I think that there's more to it than people give it the time for. So something that stuck with me in a conversation we had recently was sort of intentionality around showing up too, right? And making a culture where people want to be there and want to be present. And you told a story about being late for a meeting. Can you share that story with this group? Because I thought that was really impactful for me.
That was a huge leadership lesson for me. I was leading a team of salespeople in one of my hotel jobs. And I was late for a meeting that was like a staff meeting that I was running. And my boss was there. And, I came in a flurry. I was probably like 8 minutes late, sat down. They had sort of started the meeting, whatever. And the meeting went fine. And at the end of the meeting, as we were all collecting our stuff, she said, "Hey, can you come to my office for a few minutes?" And I was like, "Oh, dun, dun, dun." I was like, "Yeah, sure." Still didn't really get it. Like, I was like, "Oh, she probably supposed to talk about something that happened in the meeting." And she said, "Sit down. When you're late to meetings," and she explained, she used the FBI method, which is Simon Sinek's method, which is feelings, behavior, impact. So when you are late to a meeting, it makes everyone feel like the meeting's not important. And the impact is it's taking away from your leadership. And it's giving them a message that they can be late to, and it's not a big deal because you're late and you're running the show. And instead of being like, "Okay, but you know that I got a flat tire on the way in." And I did. I said, "I'm not late all the time." And she said, "True, but that's not what I'm telling you. I'm telling you about the message you're sending and the impact you're having as a leader.
And what happened today impacts all these people, even if it only happened today."
Right. And she's like, it dumbs you down, takes away from you as a leader. And then also gives a message to your team that they are not important. And I was like, okay, it's hard to hear.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a huge lesson for me. But she's also telling me what you do and how you do it matters, and I see you.
Yeah.
Right. So that's a different way of recognition. But that she cared enough, actually, in reflection, years later, she was not giving me a hard time.
No, she wanted you to be better.
Right.
And she knew that by saying it that way, you would be.
Exactly.
And were you ever late to another meeting?
Well, Kira,
We're human.
you've met me.
We're human.
Yeah.
Yes. But in
Not
the
that
moment,
meeting.
I was going to say, but in the moment, I bet you were intentional to be early for
the
quite a
rest of that
while.
meeting.
For quite a while. And for that audience too, right?
Right.
So I think that was a really great leadership moment and lesson, but it also was a very big culture moment and lesson, because that was you driving the culture and your team and your organization. Before we wrap, what's one message that you want to make sure resonates with our audience and just event planners in general?
I would say that thoughtful recognition goes beyond just your team. It's the people that you're collaborating with, the partners that you're working with, the clients that you have, the industry people that you influence. I mean, friends and family too. It's just, the one thing would be if we could, as humans, understand the power of keeping that recognition at the core, the amazing things we could do.
I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are Event Planner Confessions. So I can't finish our conversation today without asking if you could share with us some confession. Now, tell me something crazy that's happened at Fenway Park or beyond.
Well, there's a lot of crazy things that have happened at Fenway, but I will share with you one, which is, you can be so intentional about putting everything together in a venue like Fenway. And we say it's a living, breathing ballpark, right? When we're booking stuff, we're trying to explain to people the beast that it can be, right? You work there. There's a lot of things around the corner that you're like, oh, I was today years old when I knew that, And so you can do it to death, right? You can plan, you can communicate, you can document, you can run around the day of, and things are still going to happen.
Right.
So we had a grand lunch for a major pharmaceutical company. They had been approved for a drug. It was their employee celebration. And
we love those kind of parties.
Yes. It was a buyout, and it was almost 7 figures. So there was a lot riding on this.
Yes.
And we were trying to communicate to everyone, please don't be in the seating bowl during this. Please don't do any site tours during this. Please remember these people are arriving and departing at this time, whatever. Facilities decided to paint the stands, the columns in the stands and some of the arms on the chairs.
Oh my gosh.
Because it was pretty close to opening day. It was maybe a week before opening day. And so their focus is, we got to get this place ready.
Yeah. 81 baseball game.
Why would we have an event? 14 Burberry coats and Gucci purses later, that got,
yeah.
So we spent some time
covered in paint.
Covered in paint. Yeah. Covered in paint. And how do you explain that? Right?
I paid for a dry cleaning bill more times than I'd like to admit.
Yes.
Paint, gum, you name it.
All the things.
It's all happened.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yes. And it's one of those things where you don't know it's wet until you're leaned up against it and you look back at your back and it's wet.
Exactly. And you're stuck to it.
Yes.
Literally. Yeah.
But that's the thing. At the end of the day, you're at a ballpark.
Yeah. What are you going to do?
Yep. Their goals of the day are different than your goals as the event team. Right. So awesome. Well, thank you for spending time with me today, Carrie. We love our partnership with Evergreen. We were so proud to have Cohere's launch party for the New England office in your 521 Overlook space. It was stunning. We'll share some pictures here. And honestly, partners like you are rare, but they shouldn't be. And we feel very lucky to align.
We feel the same way. Thank you so much for trusting us.